Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're plugging right into, well, the most complex and fascinating part of you, the nervous system. This is the biological wiring that creates literally every thought, every feeling, every single action you take.
So let's just jump right in with a situation I bet you've experienced. Picture this. You touch a hot stove, and before you even have time to think, ouch, your hand is already pulled back. How does that happen? It's faster than thought, right?
Well, that incredible speed, it's not magic, though it sure feels like it. It's all thanks to this super efficient process in your nervous system. It's called a reflex arc. Think of it like a 5-step, high-speed emergency bypass. So step 1, the stimulus, right? That's the heat on your skin. Step 2, a sensory signal just zips along a nerve straight to your spinal cord. Now, here's the cool part. Step 3, your spinal cord doesn't even bother the brain with this. It's an emergency. It processes the signal instantly and reroutes it. Step 4, it blasts out a motor signal to the muscles in your arm. And finally, step 5, the response. Your muscle contracts and you pull your hand away. It's this brilliant protective shortcut. And get this, we're talking signals that travel over 100 meters per second. That is incredibly fast. So the big question is, how is this whole system put together to pull off not just these crazy fast reflexes, but also, complex thoughts and everything in between? All right, let's get into the architecture of it all. At the highest level, you can think of your nervous system as being split into 2 main divisions, and each one has a really clear job. First up, you've got the central nervous system, the CNS. This is the command center, right? It's your brain and spinal cord. This is where all the big decisions get made. And then you have the peripheral nervous system, the PNS. Think of this as the network, all the cables and wires that run from the command center out to every single part of your body. It's the information highway. And this highway has traffic going in 2 directions. You have sensory nerves. These are the messengers reporting to the CNS. They're the ones yelling, hey, the stove is hot. Then you have the motor nerves, which carry commands from the CNS back out to the body. They're the ones carrying the order, pull your hand away, now. Okay, so we've seen the big picture. Now let's zoom way in. Let's get down to the microscopic level and look at the actual building blocks, the individual cells that make this entire network function. And here it is, the absolute star of the show, the neuron. This is it, the fundamental unit of your entire nervous system. It's a super specialized cell that has evolved to do one thing really, really well: send signals fast over long distances. But, even the biggest superstars can't do it alone. Neurons, as critical as they are only part of the story. Believe it or not, in your brain, they only make up about half the cells. So what's the other half? Well, they've got an essential support crew. Meet the glial cells. The name literally means glue, but man, they do so much more than that. They're the unsung heroes. They provide structural support, they bring nutrients to the neurons, and here's a huge one. They wrap the neurons in this fatty substance called myelin. This myelin is like the rubber insulation on a copper wire. It makes the electrical signals travel way, way faster. And this is so important. When that myelin gets damaged, like in diseases such as multiple sclerosis, that communication network starts to break down, which can have devastating effects. And what's kind of wild? We've only known about this for a relatively short time. The whole idea that neurons are the basic building blocks of the brain, that wasn't really accepted until around the year 1900. It just goes to show you, we're still just scratching the surface of understanding how we work. Okay, so we've got these neurons sending signals. But here's a puzzle. They don't actually touch each other. It's not one long, continuous wire. So how does the message get from one neuron to the next if there's a gap? The answer is the signal has to make a leap. It happens across this incredibly tiny gap called a synapse. And that tiny little space, that's where all the magic happens. It's the key to the entire system's complexity and power. So here's how that leap works. First, an electrical signal travels down neuron number 1. When it gets to the very end, it triggers the release of these little chemical messengers. You've probably heard of them, neurotransmitters. These chemicals then shoot across that tiny synaptic gap. And on the other side, they lock onto receptors on neuron number 2, and poof, that kicks off a new electrical signal. It's this incredible, super fast switch from electrical to chemical and back to electrical again, and it happens in less than a millisecond. And the sheer scale of this, it's just mind-boggling. Look at an African elephant.
It's got something like 300 billion of these cells all communicating with each other. And your brain has around 86 billion neurons. But here's the kicker. Each one of those can form thousands of connections with other neurons. The number of possible connections is, well, it's astronomical. We can't even really comprehend it.
Okay, so let's pull the camera back out again. We've gone from the big system down to these tiny little chemical leaps. So how does it all add up? How do these microscopic events create, well, your entire reality? Well, this is where it all comes together. The exact same basic principles, a neuron firing, a signal jumping across a synapse that cause you to pull your hand from a hot stove, those same principles are just scaled up over and over again into these unbelievably complex networks. And those networks are what give you everything: your sight, your ability to walk, your memories, your thoughts, even your consciousness itself. It all starts with that simple building block. So here's the final takeaway, the big idea. Everything you experience, absolutely everything, the world you see, the thoughts in your head, the emotions you feel, it's all a reality constructed by these electrochemical signals firing across trillions and trillions of tiny gaps. So you're not just a person who has a nervous system. In a very real way, you are your nervous system. And that's a thought that is just as profound as it is biological.